folks are familiar with the Desbiens decision, which allows the integration or the combination of the physical and the psychological. And in that case, again, I'm going to kind of abbreviate things in the interest of time. We had an individual who had been paraplegic premorbidly, who was involved in an accident. Because he was a para premorbidly, that part of the AMA Guide's rating could not be applied. Basically, you couldn't use that towards the 55%. He would have been 55% already as a para. So what was invoked? He had some injuries. He had some MSK injuries, and he had some psychological impairments, mainly like a depressive disorder, what we consider about a moderate level. And his impairment rating physically, and I don't remember the exact number offhand, but it was somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think, 35%, exclusive of his paraplegia. And the argument was made that you could take somebody who technically had a 55 or 60% based on their psychological impairment alone. That would meet. You could take somebody whose physical impairments alone met 55% or more. But when it came to somebody whose physical and psychological impairments were basically equivalent functionally, the argument was made that in the AMA guides, there was no way to combine those, in part because in Chapter 14, they talk about moving away from percentage ratings since the second edition and no longer allowing these combinations of physical and psychological. So Justice Spiegel basically referenced the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It's really the only time that for CAT purposes it's being invoked, and recognized that this represented a discrimination on the basis of disability. That you can't, according to the Charter of Rights, have two equally or three equally disabled individuals where two of those individuals would have access to catastrophic impairment status, and the third, because his or her functional limitations were derived from a combination of physical and psychological, and have that person not have access to catastrophic entitlement. So that is how basically the combination of physical and psychological came about.